So let's go over a few quick reminders before we look at some of the problems from your homework tonight with systems with story problems. Couple just things that we pointed out in class today, right? We said if we were talking about something being a total, that we would always want to be adding some things up and then setting it equal to whatever that total is. Okay, we also said that if something is happening per item, right, and I'm using item loosely, that could be per person, per pound, per whatever, then we're going to give it the variable. Okay, and we also said that we want to make sure we're looking at having two equations if we have two unknowns. Typically, when we're looking for that, right, a mathematical sentence is exactly what we're looking for, a sentence. So we're sort of looking at each individual sentence to give us a new equation that we want to write. So if we look at the homework for tonight, let's take a look at number 2. It says a family of 2 children and 2 adults went to a movie and paid $33 for tickets. A family of 3 children and 2 adults paid $40.50. How much is an adult and child ticket? So we want to find 2 things. We want to find what the cost of an adult ticket is. So I'm going to let that be A. And we also want to find what the cost of a child ticket is. So I'm just going to assign that a C. Okay, so we sort of have 2 sentences, all right? We have that sort of split up there that we want to be looking at. So this says a family of 2 children. So if we want to represent 2 children, to see, right, because this is going to really represent the cost of an adult ticket, so maybe I should put that over here. So this is the amount we're going to pay per each child, right? So we're multiplying those. Okay, we have 2 adults, and they are going to pay a total of $33. So because it's a total of $33 that we're going to pay, right, we said total would tell us to add and set it equal to whatever the total was. That we can then repeat that process for our second sentence. A family of 3 children and 2 adults paid a total of $40.50. So then we have a decision. We can solve this by either graphing, substitution, or elimination. I assume the majority of us would probably be looking at this and thinking elimination since we have it matching right here. But we do have to remember that because these are both the same sign, right, we're going to multiply by that -1 all the way through, which would just change the sign of everything in there, and then we can add. So 2C plus a -3C will give us a -1C. Our A's cancel. 33 plus -4050 will give us a -750. Okay, so we'll get 7.5, but again, we're talking about money, so that's telling us that a child ticket is going to cost $7.50. But again, we're not done because we have 2 unknowns, so we need to identify both items. So we want to take that $7.50 and we want to plug it back in somewhere. I'm going to plug it into the top one. So I'll say 2 times $7.50 plus 2A equals 33. This is something we can solve. And we'll get A equals 9. So my final answer will say that an adult ticket is $9 and a child ticket, is $7.50. Number 1 is going to be a very similar format, keeping in mind that sum is telling us to add and difference is telling us to subtract. If you're not 100% sure on this one, you might want to go back and look at the basic story problems video from last night's homework. Okay, so number 3 says Eric and James collect baseball cards. Eric has 3 more than twice what James has. Together, they have 48 cards. Now, even though this question says, how many cards does Eric have? There's still 2 things that we don't know, right? We don't know how many Eric has, and we don't know how many James has. So we have 2 variables happening here. Now, I'm going to just give Eric an X and James a Y, because I don't particularly like to work with the variable E. But if you wanted to, you could work with E, and that would be fine as well. Okay, it says together, so in total, which tells me I want to add some stuff up and set it equal to 48. Right, so in total, Eric and James. So I'm going to add up Eric and James having 48 cards. Okay, I'm going to look at my other sentence here that says Eric has, right? Has would be in his possession, so it's sort of like saying is. It's just a different like form of that, right? So Eric equals, Eric is now X, 3 more than, so 3 more than tells us to add twice James. So twice is multiplication and James is Y. Okay, now looking at this problem, this is most likely something that you would want to solve with substitution. So we'd be looking at circling here, underlining here, right? We circled the X, so we're going to cross out the X. We'd be making the substitution there. Okay, and that's where I'm going to leave it. You're going to have to finish writing out that equation and solving it, keeping in mind that these variables are going to be on the same side, so you should be getting them together with the same sign.